Hello there, and welcome to the SFX Blitzball podcast. Today we're going to be discussing the upcoming draft and uh, reviewing all of the players and captains. I'm joined today by a special guest, Harley, the captain of the Brown Fillmore Sox, and a co-commissioner of the league. Harley, can you tell us a little bit about your season with the Brown Fillmore Sox this year?
Yeah, we were actually pretty good. We needed a bit more effort at some points, and otherwise, a good team.
All right, good to hear. I'm going to talk a little bit about my team, the Eagles, changed to the Swamp Donkeys starting next year. We had some good games in the regular season. I think we proved exactly what we were, but then unfortunately fell short to you guys in the playoffs. We're not going to spoil who won the league or anything, but we will start reviewing the captains. We have some news to announce here. Gabriel has taken over as captain of the Candy Kings. Harley, what do you think about this move, changing Gabriel and Jude in captaincy?
I think it's actually a pretty good move because I don't think Jude should have been a captain, and Gabriel is actually a better player than we expected.
Yeah, I agree. Gabriel is currently leading the Rookie of the Year voting on YouTube, on our YouTube channel, XFX Blitzball League. I think he's a lock to win that award. So let's start with him then. Gabriel, the captain of the Candy Kings. What do you see on him? We're going to talk about his pitching and hitting. So starting with his pitching, what do you think about his pitch mix? I think he throws a fastball, a screwball, and a curveball. What are your thoughts on his pitches?
I actually don't know what type of pitches they are. Just he kind of has a pattern. He throw two wild ones and then one right down the middle.
Yeah. So for him, I think next year he's gonna have some better accuracy, and so he can pick those corners on the strike zone. Uh, Going to the hitting though, I think he was a really good power hitter in my eyes this year. He was leading the league in batting average and home runs for a little bit. What are your thoughts on that?
Yeah, I think he's a big threat. But he's either like a strikeout or home run,
Yeah, I
or like
agree.
double and stuff.
Um, all right, let's move on now to Asher, the captain of the Pit Vipers. I just wanted to say there's a YouTube video coming out soon with all of the logo reveals, and Pit Vipers logo for next year is beautiful. I don't know where Asher found it, but it is amazing. So Asher's pitching, me personally, his knuckle drop, it was weird because it had like some knuckle movement as well as the curve movement. For me, that was the hardest pitch to hit in the league. What about you, Harley? About that knuckle drop?
I never really got to see it because it was pretty windy when we played them, so it'd always like go all over the place.
Oh yeah. Uh, he's also one of the more accurate pitchers in the league, I'd say, and one of the more effective pitchers. I think he'll have a better season next year, and whoever he drafts doesn't really need to be a pitcher because he is a great pitcher. But then him on the hitting side, he was our home run leader this year. What are your thoughts on Asher's hitting? And you go into a bit detail, please.
Well, he there's only one thing that you can kind of describe him as: a home run hitter. He just hits home runs all day.
Yeah, major slugger there. He's leading the Silver Slugger awards voting. He has 5 out of the 6 votes.
And no matter where you pitch it, it kind of just like goes like far, really far.
Yeah, he can hit it hard no matter where he hits it. Another thing that is a little bit low key for him is his fielding. Asher's fielding has probably some of the best potential in this league. He's been known to make really big far throw plays, if you check out our YouTube short fielding play of the year, it that really showcases what kind of a fielder he is. Um, and his speed really helps him in that part too. Harley, what are your thoughts on his fielding?
Well, he can get to the ball really fast, and he's good arms, so that kind of like checks out everything to be a good fielder.
Yeah, I think he's arguably the best fielder in the league. Moving on now, we're going to talk about ourselves a little bit here. We're going to talk about you first. You're the captain of the Brown Fillmore Sox. I think you were a pretty good hitter this year and a pretty good pitcher. You were a really well-rounded player. I think you really earned your way all the way to the finals there against us. What are your thoughts on your play from this year?
Could have been a bit better to start off, and pitching could have been a bit better, even though it was actually pretty good. And yeah, that's kind of it.
One of the things that we don't really realize, all the ERAs in this league are really high, but I think that's partially because we hit so many home runs, and the home runs were 3 runs. We forget that sometimes. It really boosts up the ERA. Let's move on now to
my teammates.
No, we're gonna talk about me for a little bit. What do you think about my hitting and pitching? I'm not gonna say anything.
Well, you're kind of effective with your pitching, but everyone kind of hits off of it.
I agree. I think I need to pick the corners a little bit more.
Yeah. And you're hitting lots of power. You're more like a power hitter.
All right, let's move on to the core players. So I don't think we've explained it yet. These 4 core players have to be drafted in the first round no matter what because they are more committed to the league and are more likely to show up to more games. So the 4 core players are Jude, Julius, Ben, and Emery. So who do you want to start off with, Harley?
Let's start with Jude.
All right. So Jude was the captain of the Candy Kings last year. Really streaky hitter, wild pitcher. Whoever drafts him, I don't think he's going to be pitching. But his hitting, it's kind of like a home run or strikeout, kind of like Gabriel. But one of the things that really, really impressed me this year was his speed. I think his speed is the fastest in the league by a significant margin. What are your thoughts on Jude, Harley?
He's super fast, has lots of power, and almost no contact.
Yeah, I agree. So if comparing him to an MLB player, I would say like a Max Muncy.
Yeah.
All right. Let's move on. Let's talk about Emery next. So Emery was on the Pit Vipers with Asher this year. They're brothers. I noticed when he pitched, I think he could throw a little bit harder because some of his pitches weren't even getting to the strike zone. Like they were falling off before the strike zone. I think if he started throwing harder, he could be a good pitcher in this league. He knows how to throw a curveball. He's one of the few lefty batters in this league.
I think he's the only one. Wait,
yeah,
no,
I think
there's Madden too. There's Madden.
Oh yeah, okay. Emery, good contact hitter. Very passionate. Anything else, Harley?
Yeah. That's kind of. He can have a bit of power. He goes on like power streaks.
All right, now let's talk about Ben. Ben was on your team this year. What did you see from him this year?
Pretty good player in general. Pitching could use a bit of work, and sometimes they could use a tiny bit more effort.
I agree. The effort is going to be a huge thing on where he gets picked in this draft. At the end of our player reviews, we'll do a little mock draft, but we'll see where Ben goes in that. Yeah, I don't have anything else to add on Ben, so let's talk about Julius now. He was on my team. He was he pitched very little, but when he did pitch, he usually got the outs. They usually hit off him, but he was a really good ground ball pitcher. He was a pretty decent fielder, uh, and the batting could use a little bit of work. That's the one thing that I think he needs to work on a little bit. I don't know if it's like the blitzball baseball transition with the blitzball moving more than the baseball, but I don't know what it is. Harley, what do you think?
Well, the reason that he strikes out lots is because he has a bad habit of when he swings at high pitches, he tends to jump while swinging.
All right. So let's move on now. We're going to talk about some players who may or may not be in the league next year. There are 4 of them. I'm kind of calling these ones the wild card round. Let's start off with Finn. He was technically on the Pit Vipers this year, played in the All-Star game because as a fill-in for the Pit Vipers, but he didn't play in a single game this year. We did get the chance to see some of him though this year. What are your thoughts on Finn?
Great power. He tends to throw extremely hard and wild when he pitches.
Yeah, so he won't be able to do that.
No.
Yeah.
And he might not be in the league next year.
Yeah. Well, none of these players in this category.
Maybe Madden, maybe.
No, he's not in this category.
What?
So I think Finn, one of the best hitters in the league. I'm not exaggerating. He could be a core player if he was, he has the skill of a core player. Let's move on now to Madison. We haven't seen him play at all yet. What do you expect from a player like Madison?
I feel like he's going to be like one of those contact speed mix.
I agree. He's very athletic. Like, we've seen him in hockey. He's really good at hockey.
Yeah.
So let's move on to another player, Jackson. He is also a good hockey player. I have no idea what to expect from him. He might be the biggest wild card in this draft. What are your thoughts on him?
I have no idea what he's going to be like.
Yeah, complete wild card. No idea. Let's talk about Jacques. He was on the Eagles this year. He didn't come to a game. He is usually working, so even if he does sign up for the league next year, I don't think he's going to come to very many games. I've seen him in baseball. He's a good contact hitter. I think fielding might be one of his strengths, and I think we could turn him into a pitcher if we tried. What are your thoughts on him?
Well, I've never actually seen him in baseball or blitzball, so he's just like Jackson for me.
All right, so this wild card round, you really only know about Finn.
Yep.
Let's move on to the next group of players. Let's start off with Madden. He was on your team this year, and he really impressed me on the pitching mound in the one series he did come to. He ended up finishing with the lowest ERA in the regular season, although he had only pitched 2 innings, but still very impressive.
Yeah. Yes, and he also, I was a little surprised that he couldn't really, he was very late on every swing. I was a little surprised on that.
Yes, if his hitting gets a little bit of work, I think he could be a very dangerous player.
Yeah.
All right, let's move on to, I guess he's kind of a wild card, but Colby. He isn't actually signed up for the league yet, but I'm kind of assuming he will be. What are your thoughts on Colby? I think he could be a really good power hitter if he plays blitzball a little bit.
Yeah, he has the build of a power hitter and maybe a dangerous pitcher.
Yeah, potentially. So I'd like to talk about who else do we have to talk about?
Emmett and Callie.
Callie's just a sub. Let's talk about Emmett though. Emmett is a very good blitzball player. I think he could be the first pick of the second round after the core players because he's a good pitcher. He can throw strikes and he has a blitzball and a blitzball field in his yard, I think he could be a very dangerous player next year, and he's almost a core player. He shows up to lots of games. Thoughts on it?
Even though he only showed up to one series.
No, I think he showed up to 2.
No, he didn't.
All right.
But he could have. Yeah, he was actually good. But since he was playing the first seed team, they were really hitting off him. He got mercy both times.
Yep. All right, let's talk about Callie now. He's the sub. He came to 2 series, I think.
1 series.
Yeah,
I
liked
same one
him
as Emmett.
I liked him as a player though. Okay power, like his swing is a little bit weird, but it still works for him. And we didn't see him pitch because he was just a sub. We'll never see him pitch if he's just a sub. But I think that is all the players. I'm just trying to think. I guess we will take a break, and when we come back, we will talk a little bit about our mock draft. All right, and welcome back. We're going to do the mock draft now. So we're just going to take turns taking our picks. Harley, I'll give you the first pick. You have the first overall pick in the core player.
This is hard. But I think I'll go Jude.
All right, can you just explain your pick?
Well, he's a fielder, not a pitcher, so that means that I'll probably get lots of pitching time, and I'll have good D behind me. And I like guys who can just hit lots of home runs and stuff. So yeah.
All right. So this one is really close for me. It's between Ben and Julius, and I think I'm going to take Ben. Now, my explanation here is if the captain is a good pitcher, then you could really go either way, but I think Ben is the better hitter. So that's why I'm taking Ben. He hit more home runs this season, better batting average. He actually had the best batting average in the league. So that is my reasoning for picking Ben second overall.
And I get third pick?
Yep.
Julius.
Yeah, that's pretty obvious. Not much to really explain there, but which leaves me with the fourth pick, and since this is the way the draft is going to work, I will be forced to pick Emery now. And I'll keep my same team, and I'll take Emmett with the first pick in the second round. So Emmett and Emery would be on the same team. Harley, you have the next pick now. This team already has Julius.
Thinking one for a bit of a reach. Madison.
Nice. I think that could really work out. Third pick, Ben's team. I'm going to take Madden. I think you get a pitcher, you get a lefty. So then back up to the top, Harley. This team has Jude already. Who do you think you would take here? I think it's Jackson. That's the only player.
Colby.
Yeah. All right. And then background in the third round now. So remember, one player would go undrafted. Because there's the wild cards. Those guys get drafted, but one will go undrafted. So you have to take Jackson or a wild card here with the first pick in the third round.
Who are the wild cards?
Finn, Jacques,
and Callie.
Yeah. No, not Callie.
Oh, yeah. Jackson.
All right, Jackson was one of the wild cards, actually. And then I think I'm going to go with Finn, even though there's actually a really good chance that he's not in the league next year. It's just so big of an upside if he does play.
Yeah.
All right, and third pick in the third round?
Yeah, it's a Forrest Jacques.
Yep. All right.
And And then the last should just get Kelly.
Yeah, technically. Well, no, Callie would stay undrafted, so we have a sub.
Yeah.
All right, that will conclude our podcast. I hope you enjoyed it, and please follow on Spotify. Our YouTube channel is SFX Blitzball League. Please subscribe there and like all the videos. Thanks for listening. See you next time.